when you're bringing the sacrifice, this libation, the flour, wine, and oil, the pouring things, when you're bringing that later, do you have to sing during that time? Even the Amar Reb Shmuel Bar Nachmani Amar Rabbi Yonasan, since Reb Shmuel Bar Nachmani says in the name of Rabbi Yonasan, Menayin Sheinem Shira El Alayayin Amrinan, he says, we learned this yesterday. Reb Shmuel Bar Nachmani says in the name of Rabbi Yonasan.
How do you bring in a Satan by himself?
Oh, because the Gemara said that you can bring it up to 10 days later. It didn't say up to even 10 days later.
It's not by itself. It's the grama is the korban.
Right. For some reason, it's called Nesachim Abam B'fnei Atzma. At least that's how Rashi's learning. Tosfos, it seems as well. Right. No, but what Reb Chaim is pointing out, is there such a thing as bringing it on their own? I think there is. I think we learned you can bring it without any carbon. You can just donate flour, wine, and oil. You can just donate that on its own, without any carbon associated with it. What about that? I guess the Gemara didn't even bother asking that, at least according to Rashi. So, because our source is that for wine, when the pouring of the wine, you sing the song, just like we learned yesterday, that because wine gladdens God and man. And we said, how does wine gladden God? It says because the song is said is sung when the pouring of the wine. That's what makes Hashem happy. Oy Dilma, alachilu shti amrinan, ashti alachudei amrinan. We only sing the song together with eating and drinking. The wine gladdens God and man. Wine together with food. Stam, just wine, is not gladdening. It's the wine together with food that's glad. So it gladdens God and man. So therefore, the singing is also together with the meat.
They bring the nesachim. They bring the flour.
Yeah.
And that's not food. It's not. It's only beef.
Yeah.
Could have been a guy.
I hear you.
Flour and oil. Nice pancake.
Tashema. We're going back to this discussion from Rabbi Yosi. Rabbi Yosi Eimer Megalgal and Chosliim Zakai, that auspicious day gets its special things. What are they singing over there? If we say that it was an obligation offering by the day of the destruction of the temple, that did they have karbanos then? They didn't have it then. It must have been an Eilas Nadava. It was a donation offering. But Mari Breder Rav Kana said, we learned before, that you only do it on special days, on the karbanos that are brought at those special times. That was our final answer. That you only sing on the karbanos that are brought. That the mandatory sacrifices, not by voluntary sacrifice. Elalav. So why were they singing over there? The nesachim. It must have been that they were bringing nesachim, and that's why they were singing. They didn't have the carbon tamid. That was stopped.
It's not the explanation that it was a korban that after that the next day they brought. Here there was no korban at all.
I don't know. Maybe this was the carbon. Maybe it was the nesachim from back then. I don't know. What do they say over there in number 8? Say anything? Had been offered several weeks earlier, but it's not been delayed until that day. Amar Rava. So Rava says Vitema Ravashi, and some say it's Ravashi. We had this recently, where Rava and was confused with Ravashi, a statement of usually it's Amar Rava Vitema Rav Papa, because they're teacher students. Amar Rava Vitema Rav Tizbara. Shir Diyem El Hashem Artzim Laya. V'yashav Alayim B'Seinim V'shir Da'arba B'Shabahu. How can you say that this is a song that's associated with the day of the week? We said that the temple was destroyed on a Sunday. The song that they were singing is a Wednesday. It can't be that this was a song that they sing together with the sacrifice. It must have been they were singing just a kinnis, a lament about the things that were happening. That was in the mouth. The Gemara asks, but it says they were standing on the platform. It means they were singing the actual song of the day. Rish Lakish. The Amar Rish Lakish, Rish Lakish said, that you can sing songs even if it's not by the Karban, and it was just another song. Yihachi b'nesachim nami leima nafik min Yihachi b'nesachim nami. So why did you have a question over here? According to Rish Lakish, you're allowed to sing whenever you want. So why do you have a question over here if you're allowed to sing by the Nesachim that don't come together with the sacrifice? Sing whenever you want. It says no. Nafik minei churba. We don't want to do any voluntary singing on sacrifices. We don't want to do any voluntary singing on sacrifices where it's not an obligation, because then when it is an obligation, you're going to say, oh, it's only voluntary. Well, last time it was just voluntary. It wasn't really an obligation. So therefore, if anything that's mandatory, it requires the singing, you do that. If it's clearly not an obligation at all, then you can also do it. But if you have somewhere in the middle, then you don't want to confuse it between do I have to? Is it just a voluntary thing? Is it not? It makes this area like sometimes people don't know the difference between a minhag or a deraisa, a derabanan. And it gets confusing. They think like a minhag is a deraisa, or something like that. So here they're going to think that we sing by these voluntary offer. We sing by the nesachim, but we didn't really have to. Then they're going to think that when you go back to the real singing, we also don't really have to, and that's going to be a problem. Okay. The next Gemara is extremely complex. Could we watch that video? Is it?
I'm just putting some charge in there so that you could.
Hysterical. He never runs out of his battery.
The day we want.
The day you want to.
Should I?
Oh, I just. Well, if I.
Let's do it. This is what we're doing here is a dateline of the destruction. It's the destruction of the first.
Can I cast to that?
Yeah, but it's going to be after Shachris by the time we figure it out.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm pulling up.
No, we have 2 kids here. They'll figure it out.
What we're discussing here is the destruction of the first temple. There were several stages to it because Nebuchadnezzar came in his second year. Nebuchadnezzar came in and he killed Yehoiakim. Then Yehoiachin was put in power. And Yehoiachin was exiled. Here we go.
A lot of math over there. All those math lovers.
Let's see. They're confusing me a bit. Wait 1 second before we do that. We're on Yud Bais and we're starting with the Gufa. We're going back to discuss. The Gemara is going to ask here, how is it possible that it was the year after Shemitah? Because we're going to calculate it, and we're going to have a verse that's going to say that 25 years later was the Yovel. And we have a problem. You ready?
Yeah, it's funny.
Okay. So
if we show it, this is thank you to Rabbi Stefanski and Eretz Israel, because we're using his 8-minute daf because he's ahead of time. I don't know where.
If there's any copyright issues or anything like that, the Dr. Reynolds
the carbon at a different date than the carbon itself. But if you do that, you're not allowed to say Shira on the one. Even that the person that destroyed the Beis Hamikdash, the first Beis Hamikdash, was Nebuchadnezzar Russia. He destroyed it 9th Sunday, destroyed on the year after Shemitah, and during the Mishmar of Yomi. Let's figure out.
No, 1 second.
On the same day, there's 4 coincidences. It was destroyed. They were both destroyed on Tisha B'Av, both destroyed on Sunday, destroyed on the year after Shemitah, and during the Mishmar of Yomi.
Can you see it?
Yeah, we could hear it.
Let's figure out this third one that they were both destroyed on the year after Shemitah. In order to understand that, we have to understand that the person that destroyed the Beis Hamikdash, the first Beis Hamikdash, was Nebuchadnezzar of Russia. He destroyed it 19 years into his kingdom, which corresponds to 18 years into the Jewish king's, Yochim's kingdom.
You follow? Can you hear it? Okay.
7 years into Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom, he chased out Yecheskel and a lot of the Chashuvim in Klal Yisrael. They went to Galus 7 years into his kingdom, which is 11
let me just explain. The temple was destroyed 19 years into Nebuchadnezzar's reign. However, that's 18 years from Yehoiakim, which is 11 years after Yehoiachin. Okay? So, in other words, Yehoiachin took over in the Nebuchadnezzar came in his second year and conquered Yehoiakim, and then Yehoiachin, it was Yehoiachin's kingdom after that, until 8 years later, until the 8th year, then Nebuchadnezzar came in and took Yehoiachin together with the great people, including Yechezkel, and brought them to Babylonia. Then he came back 11 years later and he destroyed the temple.
Says Yechezkel in Nebuah, he says, 25 years after I went into Golus, which is 14 years after the Churban, it was a Yovel. Now, we have to understand, how could it be a Yovel? If the Churban Bais happened 1 year after Shemitah, then Yovel comes out 15 years later. So we must say, says Ravuna, that we don't count the actual year of that Klal Yisrael went into Golus, the actual year of the Churban.
Oh.
So after the year of the Churban, we count 14 years, and then everything makes sense. Then the Churban happened 1 year after Shemitah, which was year 36 in the Shemitah cycle.
Okay, let's go through it. It'll be easier to inside. If we have like 5 minutes, we'll get into this, and then we'll have to. So it says Gufa was taught. Rabbi Yosem and Megalgalin's Chusliyim Zakai. We put special things on auspicious day. Barishayna, it was the first base of Migdash, B'moitzi Shvius. Okay. Barishayna, the first base of Migdash, B'moitzi Shvius mi Mishkachasla. Is it possible that it was the year after the Shemitah? But Yechezkel says that it was in his 25th year of our exile. Rosh Hashanah be'Esar l'Chodesh. It was on Rosh Hashanah on the 10th of the month. The Gemara is going to say Rosh Hashanah is not on the 10th of the month. Which year is Rosh Hashanah on the 10th of the month? It needs to be a Yovel year, the 50th, the Jubilee. Ba'arba Esar Shana achar asher huksa year. It's 14 years after the city was conquered. Ezu Ishana Rosh Hashanah be'Esar l'Chodesh. Which year is Rosh Hashanah on the 10th of the month? Yovel. So it's Yovel. And if you say that the temple was destroyed on the first year of a Shemitah, right? 7 years. This was on year 1 of a Shemitah. Michad b'shavua lechad b'shavua. From one Shemitah to the next Shemitah is 8 years. If you count the Shemitah that you're starting, right? So Tamni is 8. Lechad b'shavua achrina. If you need to get to another Shemitah, then that would be Chamesh Esrei Haben. That would be 15. So how could we say that it was on the first of the Shemitah and 14 years later is Yovel? Yovel has to be the first year of a Shemitah. Because you have the 49 and then plus 1. So it has to be the first year. So it needs to be in the 15th year from the destruction, not the 14th year from the destruction. So Amar Ravina, it's not 14 years after. It's 14 years after the city was destroyed, which means not counting the first year. The Gemara says, if you're not counting the first year, then when we go back to how many years it was, then it has to be 26 years. Okay, and we have a whole calculation. You have to work this out, but we need to leave it. Okay, let's leave this.
10 tribes came back.